awards go to a disproportionately larger number of Democratic districts than Republican districts?
You know, I disagree with that premise. You know, I've heard the criticism from time to time, and, you know, for example, the last round of Tiger, we had almost 40% of those dollars go into rural areas, many of which are not Democratic areas. And I don't exactly know how people slice and dice the arguments about Democratic versus Republican, because although I don't know, my guess is we're pretty equal in terms of governors, pretty equal in terms of U.S. senators. I think there are a lot of ways you could slice and dice that, but we really try to look at the projects on their own terms and not to play political favorites with them.
So obviously I'm going to disagree with you on this, and it's a serious matter of oversight for this committee. So in a study of 3 or 4 year fiscal years, 63% went to Democratic districts, 37% went to Republican districts. That's at a time when there were 50 more Republican districts in the country than there were Democratic districts. Now, on its face, I might accept your argument, except for the GAO study that also reported to Congress that 43 projects approved by the Department were advanced with lower technical ratings than 22 more highly rated projects, and that was done without proper documentation by the Department. In response to that GAO report, are you aware of changes that have been made or additional requirements you've put in place for your department?
Well, I think that study was ago.
Right, it was 20 months ago. It was May of 2014, and my question is what you have done in response to those concerns.
Yeah, I'd be happy to answer the question.
Okay.
We have actually made changes, and some of those changes have made it difficult for us to be as geographically diverse as we would like to be. For example, one of the changes is putting in the NOFA last time that the cost-benefit analysis that we do would be outcome determinative. And because of that cost-benefit analysis, you know, a state like Florida didn't get a Tiger grant because we didn't have a cost-beneficial project out of Florida. So we are playing it by the book, and I think even if you talk to GAO today, the reforms we've made in the Tiger program are ones that they themselves believe have made a difference.
Have you had more incidents of accepting applications after the published deadline? That was another concern.
No, actually, that to our great pain. We had a situation a couple of years ago where the deadline was 5:00 p.m., and we had some West Coast cities that submitted at 5:00 on the West Coast, which is 8:00 on the East Coast, and we had to turn some of them down.
Another finding was that technical ratings of lower rated projects ultimately selected for funding were later changed to higher technical ratings without documentation. Is that something you've also taken actions to?
There is a very technical review the staff does, and then there is a control and calibration team that assures that there is actually even-handedness across those projects, because sometimes you get a group that grades tougher than the next group. So we have a process around that. I make no apologies for that process because it allows us to keep the system fair. And so we stand by our work on that.
So, and that's what we struggle with because, hey, look, I'm a believer in the Tiger Grant program, but I do have concerns as to how it's awarded, and frankly, I'll be very honest with you. District interests that come to me with Tiger Grant applications this year, I'm suggesting they find a Democratic member of Congress to endorse them, because I think it works against us as a Republican. Last year, Charlotte, the city of which you were mayor, received $25 million in a Tiger Grant. I presume you're aware that that was the largest single state award to any applicant.
Actually, there were two.
Well, the other $25 million went to an 8-state conglomeration project. But for a single state project, Charlotte received $25 million.
It was a strong application. And it was
Were you personally involved?
It was actually the first application from Charlotte, despite submissions that have been made in the past, that they've gotten under my tenure.
Were you personally involved in?
I'm personally involved in all of the decisions that come before us in Tiger, and including this submission that was given to those 8 states, including Kansas, for a very groundbreaking program that will help truckers find safe places to park.
Right. And what was the content of the Charlotte application that received $25 million?
It was a station, a train station, very consistent with investments we've made in other parts of the country.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you. I want to thank each and every one.